Hi there, welcome to another episode of BNC's special interview. I'm Mikal Raj, your host. Today we are talking to Dato Sri Vijay Eswaran. He's the founder of the QI group of companies. Dato Sri, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
First of all, let's talk about sports. Yes. We understand the news is that QI has forged another 3-year partnership with Manchester City, who are riding high on the table right now. You see? So basically, the question is, from the business point of view, how does this help the company and particularly its bottom line?
Well, we have always been in some form or another involved in sports sponsorship. Way back in 2003 itself, almost 20 years ago, when we started with IBF, we sponsored the World Badminton Championships twice. And then we went on to motorcars, which is, we went into
Malaysia, right?
Malaysia. Before that, Virgin Racing with Sir Richard Branson. And then Malaysia. We did that for about 5 years. We did GP2 before that for another 5 years. So, and we came into the EPL basically with Manchester City. We were at that point considering 3 or 4 other clubs. And in the final run, we decided on Man City, which actually turned out to be, I think, one of our most fortunate decisions.
Especially for this season.
Exactly. Okay. But even the very first season, hardly, I think, about a month after we signed up with them, they became league champions. Yes. So in a sense, it has been a very, very good relationship. And in Man City in particular have something unique about them. They're very down to earth. Unlike some of the other English clubs, they are very, what would I say, run-of-the-mill people. We can talk to them, they can talk to us. We have got along in a fabulous relationship.
So does this kind of raising your profile help the bottom line or your dollars and cents revenue?
It is, for us, it is a very clear plus. Because on a worldwide scale, very few sports are watched with the kind of fervor that football is. Same thing with F1, F1 has a worldwide audience, but football beats just about any other sport. We are also involved in hockey in a very big way. We are committed to the Malaysian Hockey Confederation over here, and the Sultan Azlan Shah Cup and all of that. We have been sponsoring hockey for a long time, but soccer is if not the national sport, I would say it is the most popular sport.
Lifeblood of many people, eh?
Yes, and in just about, I would say 150 countries across the world.
Okay, sorry. Let's go local. Can you give a progress update on the 1.2 billion QI City project in Bandar Meru Raya, and what's going to happen to Ipoh?
Well, the shape of Ipoh is changing, I think, demographically as well. Now Ipoh is far more accessible. In 2 hours or less, you are there by train. And Ipoh is going to be far more accessible moving forward with the plans that are put into place for a fast track and so on and so forth. But more importantly, for QI City, all right, Meru is the new headquarters of Perak. It's basically where the State Secretary is going to move, yes. The central bus station. It is going to be the central locale. The new Ipoh is going to come out of Meru. So we have almost 27, 28 acres over there, where we are building a mixed development. QI City represents not just a hospital. It also has the university campus. It has a mall, a shopping center, a convention center, and it has a hotel, plus 3 blocks of condominiums. So it is a really, I would say, integrated development. And the beauty of it all is that it will replicate the university hospital concept here in KL. You have the UH hospital, university, and a teaching hospital. Combined, that's really what we are aiming to do in Ipoh as well. So we have just completed the clearing of the land. The piling will begin once the earthworks is complete. We have to remove around some 450,000 tons of earth. So that process will take over the next few months.
Well, how long will it be before QI City emerges as a university township?
The targeting date is towards the end of 2018, where by 2019 we should be fully in the new campus.
Tell us about Quest International University Perak. Okay, so you have brought a medical campus to Ipoh, and the parents in that area, northern region and the central region, don't have to send their students to Kuala Lumpur or any other place. So Tell us, you had 47 medical graduates who graduated as medical doctors. So, how significant is this milestone for the QI group?
For us, it is a major benchmark. It is something that we had hoped upon for, I would imagine, the last 7 years. It took, many challenges and tests and travails, but we were able to somehow meet and overcome all of them. And I'm proud to say, not only are these 47 doctors who are joining the mainstream graduates of Quest, or the first graduates of Quest, they are also the cream of the cream. We have actually had NUS, that's the National University of Singapore, come down and do the tests with them, and NUS grades them as well as their own students back in Singapore. So these are not only going to be doctors, I think they will be exemplary doctors that we will provide. Our target has always been to create a Harvard of the East.
Not just catering for Malaysian students, how are you going to attract students from the region, ASEAN? Because you said once that you want it to be a really, truly international university.
That's totally correct. I have said this in ASEAN many times. I've addressed it during the education forum. We have already begun a process of right now building a relationship with Panasastra, which is the largest university in Cambodia, with 26,000 students. So that puts it in a different, stratosphere, so to speak. They are a really large university. We have started to bring students from Panasastra into QIUP, and they will be integrated into the medical program. We have targeted to bring 25 students over the next few years. So that's the first step. Now we're also beginning the same with universities in Thailand and in the Philippines, eventually Indonesia. So this will tie us up with a number of universities within ASEAN, where we'll have a working relationship within each other, and also allow us to, at some point or another, to have accreditation program with each other.
Yeah, how is the Perak state government involved in the project in terms of equity as well as funding?
Well, not so much in terms of funding, but in terms of equity, clearly. They have been excellent partners with us. It is the land that has been provided is clearly from the state government. And more importantly, this is step one. When we complete this project, when Meru is complete, we will still go ahead with our long-term plan, which is to build another township outside of Ipoh in Guatampurong, where we have been allocated a further I think 250 acres. So we have that to develop as well. So on this side, this 30 acres, 27 acres that has been given to us is going to be the city campus. And that's what we're completing first. And all of this is by virtue of the state government. In fact, Menteri Bersama was gracious enough to attend our convocation last weekend, where he was handing out the first degrees to the top 8 students with distinction from medicine.
Is there a target for completion for the whole university township?
In terms of Meru, 2018, by 2019 we should be moving in. We hope to be correspondingly already begin the clearing of the Guatampurong project by 2018.
Yeah, sorry, can you give a background on the financing aspect of it? How much of funds has the company raised, maybe through Islamic bonds, and how much money has been spent on the project so far? And basically, what is the entire cost of the project? Yeah.
I would be not being conservative if I were to say that about close to 100 million has already been poured into this from the day we began. However, as you have yourself pointed out, the project is going to be a lot bigger than that. So we have already worked out the financing all the way through for the project, and we have financing being funded with our partners. We have a Chinese group coming in to build, so it's a BOT. So they will build, operate, and transfer the actual campus to us. The university will be basically a project where we are working with some of the public universities in Malaysia for them to come in and take over. And so there will be an 800-bed hospital. The hospital will be an 800-bed hospital, which will be taken over by one of the public universities in Malaysia. And that will be our teaching hospital. 200 beds will be private, and 600 beds will be actually public. So it will be run on the basis of university hospital. So that is our plan, whereby that will be basically carved out, and that will become a different REIT of its own. The university will be funded separately, and then the condominiums will be funded separately, leaving only the hotel as a standalone.
Have you raised any sukuk so far for this project?
We have already started negotiations, and so within the coming year.
Is there amount involved in the raising the sukuk, or is it secret?
At the moment, I would say it is, yes.
Okay. Actually, looking at the whole company, can you tell us about the group's other activities, direct selling, e-commerce, lifestyle and leisure, and many more, luxury and collectibles, property development, project management. So how are they doing within the group?
Well, let's talk about the hotels. We have 7 hotels already complete in Sri Lanka. Okay. We have one that is being opened in December, so that will make 8 this year. 2 more to be complete next year, which will make 10 hotels in Sri Lanka. We have already one in Koh Samui, which has now gone from 40 rooms to 100. So it's been extended and expanded. So Koh Samui Resort is now our premier resort in Thailand. And we also have other hotels in Thailand, as well as in a new one being opened in Maldives. Okay. Come January, and that will be run by the Western Group. And then we have one in Turkey. So the hotel groups is expanding and developing on its own. And then we have our watchmakers.
Yes. Okay.
We're still one of the very few Malaysian companies who have a Swiss watchmaking company with 3 brands. Simier, which is our top brand, Bernama, which is actually a German collaboration with a company in Pforzheim in Germany, and the third is Kuros. So between the 3, we have basically established enough of a market for it to be on a worldwide framework. And then now, over and above of that, we have gone into a whole range of other things, nutrition, for instance. We have gone into travel, we have gone into skincare, etc., so on and so forth.
I see. What about your e-commerce? How is that doing briefly?
The platform is separate. We basically use the e-commerce platform to sell all of these products, including travel, hotel packages, watches, nutrition, all of this, skincare, all of these are sold on the platform. So the e-commerce platform, which is QNet, sells this all across the world. We have a database of well over 11 million people right now.
Okay, there's a lot more to talk about, but we'll take a short break. And when we return, we'll talk more about QI. Welcome back. Dr. Sri, you celebrated your 20th anniversary this year in your company and all that. But when you started off, I think many people did not give you a chance of survival. You know, they sort of doubted you and all that. But after 20 years, you have made it. You can say you've arrived and all that. So the question is, what is your secret of success, and particularly what is your message to those people who doubted you? There are many Thomases around.
Well, very clearly, when we began, most people didn't even expect us to last 1 year. We didn't really have any kind of support from anybody outside of ourselves. It was, in essence, a few partners of us getting together and starting this company, built upon faith. You know, in essence, we knew, or actually we believed that this would work. I was basically economics, by training. So as I looked upon the world at the time, e-commerce had a place in its way, and it was bound to happen. So we actually, opened the company at the same time as the internet bubble bursting in 1998. So at that point, people were turning away from the IT industry, literally. There was not yet Baidu or Amazon, or all of this had not, even Google and all had not kicked start yet. Yeah. They were just about on the cusp, Yeah. So we came in and we started believing on and working upon an e-commerce portal that believed in taking products from all around the world, delivering to your doorstep. Something that was totally unusual in its time. And we started with the Olympics game. We were one of the 42 official resellers of the Olympic game coins. We were distributors.
This is the 1992, is it?
In 1998.
Okay, I see.
For the 2000 Olympics.
Okay.
In the 2000 Olympics, we were one of the 42 official distributors. That's how we began. And when we realized the e-commerce portal actually worked, people were willing to buy or actually exercise their right to buy. across the internet and have it delivered, including gold coins, to their doorstep. And they had the faith in it, and the whole delivery system worked. So we proved it to ourselves that if it can work with that, it can work with anything. From there on, we actually started to attend, and I mean, to add different products, one after another. And we built it up to where we have, literally 1,000 products onto the marketplace at this time. So did people believe in our theory or in our concept at the time? No. They literally laughed at us, but it's something that you have to first believe in what you want to achieve, and then you have to work towards it with a will. You have to shut out everything else, so.
It looks like you are the original Bitcoin physical entrepreneur. Actually, you're a regular feature at many of the international dialogues like the World Economic Forum in Davos and in Dalian. What are the main messages that you've been bringing all those years?
I've been known to address a few things. One is, one of my pet topics is the issue of unemployment. I've addressed that a few times, going all the way back even to the Commonwealth Forum, where I've discussed the fact that unemployment is going to be a continuous growing problem with no real solutions in mind. What with the growth of AI, with the growth of technology per se, and with the fact that there is a fast-growing population that is joining the workforce every year. The World Bank assumes that by 2025 there will be another 700 million youths joining the workforce. Every country in the world joining hands and putting together cannot solve that problem. So the problem is, how do we solve this? Now, one of the ways that we do it is that we encourage and build upon and empower entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the only way to do this. We need to create job creators, not job seekers. Right now, our university education system, everything is designed to create job seekers. And these people, without a job waiting for them, don't know what to do. So what we have done instead is build upon their confidence, their ability, their strength, so that they can actually go out and become entrepreneurs and stand on their legs. So this is something I speak about. Disruption I speak about. I'm known to come in and talk about disruption at many different levels, and we ourselves are a classic case in mind of disruption. We broke the mold of what direct selling should be about by creating the e-commerce portal. And the third thing that I speak about is mindfulness, of which I wrote my book, The Sphere of Silence. And The Sphere of Silence now is basically gone into 8 languages, and we have more than 500,000 copies out there in print. And as you know, my 4th book has now come out.
What is that?
It's called 2 Minutes from the Abyss, and it's actually the 11 Pillars of Life Management. The 2 Minutes from the Abyss was just released last year. In essence, it talks about my concept or philosophy of life management, business, and entrepreneurship and success, in a nutshell.
But you have been propagating the difference between students working for startups versus working for corporates. It's easier said than done, because students, how shall I go about doing this? Where do I start? See? So what is your advice to youths, students coming out of universities?
Well, if they're looking for security at this age, when they're coming out of university, unfortunately, part of our training has been to focus on them, job security, basically having a safety net and all of these things. Then they will never look at startups. And the best and richest experiences are in startups. The best experience for a student right now is to basically, go out there and create his own way in life, so to speak. If you go to India, now India is a classic case in point because we are very much the same. If you go to the top 10 universities and you were to do a poll, you will find that 8 out of 10 students, ask them what they want to do in 5 years. I want to be working for this company, working for that company, running this company. This is their ambition. The same question put in Hong Kong or China or Taiwan, 8 out of 10 students will tell you, I want to be out there and having 100 people work for me, as opposed to me working for anyone.
How does the philosophy differ between these countries?
Entrepreneurship. You see, we are trained to go out there and work for someone. That's what the British system has, designed with us. Even here, it's just about, okay, even in the 3rd year of university, we are thinking about where shall we work, for whom shall we work. As opposed to if we were to take a look at, let's take a look at the top 10 richest men in the world. 8 out of the top 10 never finished college. You see, Larry Ellison, for instance, Steve Jobs, of course, Bill Gates in his time, Sam Walton in his time. I mean, even, even all of them, a long list of them, 8 out of 10 of the richest men in the world never finished college. So what's the message over there? Now, I'm not saying that everyone should stop studying. But the concept is essentially what created Silicon Valley is the ability to go out there and stand on your own feet and make your ideas work. We are not teaching that. We are teaching our people to go and find jobs. We're teaching them how to be better job seekers. And what we need to do is to create minds that create other jobs.
Compared to the traditional economy, does social media platforms allow for what you say, to go to startups rather than joining companies?
I would say social media platforms has opened up their way of thinking. It is actually, as they would say in America, coming out of left field. They are for once allowed to explore and develop their own potential. Social media allows you to do that right across the global frontier. There are no boundaries anywhere. You can have a partner in social media from Colombia or from Chile or from Chicago, and you can work with all of them. And that's beautiful that you can do that. I mean, social media and the internet allows you to create a company virtually online.
Yeah, we have Airbnb and Uber and GrabCar.
And QI. QI began like that. In essence, we are now, for instance, scattered over 42 different countries. Our offices are scattered in 42 different cities.
But because you are the pioneers, but has QI moved with the times and embraced these changes in the business environment, embracing fourth industrial revolution, AI or robotics or even automation?
Absolutely. We have basically started working. We had, in fact, the beginnings of a virtual currency way back over 10 years ago because of the amount of trade that we do worldwide. And we have started working. We are on the cusp of re-engineering ourselves every single year. The company that began in 1998 today cannot recognize itself. And I hope that the change keeps on happening.
In your presentations overseas, one of the latest presentations, I think you mentioned that you proposed that Kuala Lumpur be a venue, like a dialogue for, just like Davos and Dalian. Why so, and for what issues?
We are unique. Malaysia, per se, has a unique ability that not many countries can claim to have. In a sense, we are more uniquely, culturally diversified than all our neighbors put together. Singapore will have the cosmetic look of being diversified, but it is clearly, one race that governs it. Thailand the same, Indonesia the same, Philippines the same, so is the rest of ASEAN. But Malaysia per se is truly culturally diversified. And you can see it just by coming into the country per se, which gives us an authority, gives us an ability to say, hey, we can speak both sides, we can address all the sides. You see, we have in our own nation every side or every facet of the problem we are facing, i.e. the Rohingya problem. We are more suited to solve it than anyone else. And this is the place where we should actually address it.
But have you made a definitive proposal to the government? You have talked to the media, I think, about it. But are you in any position to make a definitive proposal to the Prime Minister, for instance,
Well, if I would say that I hope that they're listening, but as a businessman, there's only so much that I can do. My approach to this is that we may be limited physically, we may be limited by resources, we may be limited by the manpower that we have, we may be limited by all of these physical limitations, but our ability to respond must always be unlimited. It must be infinite. And so the answer, I would say, is we must, if we approach a problem with an infinite ability to respond, then we will find solutions.
Tell me about your future for Malaysia. What do we need to do to move forward with the times?
Very clearly, the times are changing. The millennials are going to change it for us even more. And if you see them and talk to them and interact with them today, you will find they're totally different from how you and I grew up. Their look upon the world is both interesting and challenging. And if we are going to conform to them, because they're the consumers of the future, they're also going to be the workforce of the future, then we're going to have to think and understand and relate to them. And they don't believe in the same issues and challenges that we did when we grew up. They don't see the world in the same boundaries. They believe in a world without boundaries. And I, for one, totally subscribe to their viewpoint. They believe in different value systems, and they believe in success in totally a different paradigm. I subscribe to all of that. And so should we if we want to live in the forthcoming millennium.
Dr. Sri, thank you very much for your time. This has been BNC special interview. Until the next time, have a productive day ahead.